So what we're going to do for this class is I'm going to state what our objective is. We're going to do a bit of a clarification area. Then we're going to jump into the topic. And then we're going to close off with a little bit of homework, but it's going to be fun homework. Don't worry about that. So first off, we might remember that from last day we learned the difference between sexual and asexual reproduction. Remember that sexual reproduction involves a lot of animals and some plants, and includes two parents giving a lot of variation to their offspring, whereas asexual reproduction only has one parent and therefore not a lot of variation. So it's because of that variation that comes from sexual reproduction that we're going to be focusing on that today. The objective of today is to be able to categorize traits into two major categories of variation. As you can see here, it'll be discrete and continuous. So before we get into explaining what discrete and continuous variations are, I want to clarify a couple things. Is that for intensive purposes of this class, a trait is a certain feature or quality that an organism has. So in this, for an example, it would be eye color. Eye color would be a trait, but the variation is the different form. So green eyes or blue eyes, brown eyes, that would be the variation. So the trait is what it is, and the variation is the different forms of it. I also want to address one misconception that might come up prior to getting into this, and that would be that we're going to be talking a lot about visual traits, things that you can see, but not all traits and variations are visible. All right? So, continuous variation. Does anyone here know what that is prior to me explaining what it is? No? All right. So continuous variation is variations of a trait that have a range of possibilities. So it can be anywhere from here to here. Anywhere in between, anything at all. Well, not anything at all, but anywhere in between. So some examples of this in humans could be hair color or foot size. There's a small end and there's a large end, and there could be anything in between. An analogy that we could use for this would be going outside and looking up at the sky. There could be no clouds, there could be a lot of clouds, or there could be any number of clouds in between. You could think of it almost as a percentage. As for discrete variation, it's opposite. It's kind of like categories. So, an example of this, actually I'm going to get rid of one of these here. Example of this would be being able to roll your tongue. So tongue rollers and non-tongue rollers. So just take a second and find out if you're a tongue roller or not. Can you roll your tongue? So some of you may be tongue rollers and some of you may not be tongue rollers. This is an example of a discrete variation. You are either one or the other. There's no real in-between state. You can't be a partial tongue roller. Sorry about that, I'm a little sick. So does that make sense? Is that a clear explanation of continuous and discrete? An analogy for discrete would be going into a building and having there being several floors. You can go to the first floor, a second floor, a third floor, but there's no way you can go to the second and a half floor. All right? Pardon? So, why might traits be categorized in this way? Any ideas? All right. Well, it's actually quite a complicated answer, and we're not going to go a lot into detail on why traits are categorized in this way, but it's mostly for the way that they're encoded in your DNA. For simplicity reasons, because we're just going over discrete and continuous, discrete is basically one place in your DNA, whereas continuous is several places, and it's much more complicated. So a lot of more research has been done on discrete variations than there has been on continuous variations. All right, now that you've got that understanding, let's go to our activity. So I'm going to show you a bunch of different pictures of discrete and continuous variations And as a class, you guys are going to tell me whether it's discrete or continuous. You guys ready for this?
Yep.
Awesome. So let's start with an easy one. Earlobe attachment.
Discrete.
I hear one discrete. Everyone agree with that? Yeah, that's definitely a discrete variation. You can either have attached earlobes or not attached earlobes. All right, what about eye color?
Continuous.
Continuous.
So why would it be continuous? Any ideas?
Different colors.
Eyes are different.
Everyone's eyes are different. We've kind of made broad categories for them, but within those categories we have many different eye colors. You can have blue-green eyes, you can have brownish blue eyes. There's many different eye colors, so yeah, eye color is continuous.
And there's those people that have like one eye,
Yeah,
one color, and one the other.
heterochromia. What about your thumb? Some people have hitchhiker's thumbs, some people have regular thumbs. Is there any in between?
No.
No, so that means this would be
Discrete.
discrete, right. Just take a look at your thumb. Who here has a hitchhiker's thumb and who doesn't? You don't have to put up your hand, just take note of what you got. It's good to take notice of what you got for your body. How about height? Let's go with height for now.
Continuous.
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 Because there's people that are this tall and there's people that are taller than that. So anything in between is fair game. What about skin tone?
Continuous.
Skin tone is also continuous. There's many different colors of skin and there's many different tones within those colors themselves. Cool. All right, I got a couple more for you. Okay. Second last one. Hairline. I just tripped on something. What about hairline? Discrete or continuous?
Discrete.
I think it's
It's continuous.
continuous.
It is a trickier one. This one is discrete because you can either have a widow's peak or you don't have a widow's peak. There are smaller widow's peaks, but it's still a widow's peak. So it is discrete. There is a bit more variation within it, but it is more categorized in that way. And we've got one more for you. This one might catch it too. What about blood type?
Discrete.
Discrete or continuous? Discrete? Yeah, it's definitely discrete. Because even though there's the AB blood type, which is kind of continuous between these two, it's its own category. So it is discrete. So, to sum up, they can be, excuse me, variations can be categorized in what two ways?
Discrete.
Or continuous.
Yay! Continuous variations have a range of possibilities, while discrete are more categorized. So, in the next couple of classes, you guys will be looking into where heredity comes from, like how you get it from your parents, and what traits are heritable and which ones are not. So just keep in mind the discrete and continuous, especially the discrete when it comes to, the continuous traits when it comes to heritability. All right, and that is all I have for you guys.